You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers because we got a couple of things that have emerged. Well, we've got three things. Number one, Mike Tomlin's job status. Okay, we think we know where that stands. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about the fact that it looks like Mason Rudolph is getting screwed. Like he's going to get screwed in all of this. He's going to be a free agent, but Mike Tomlin came out yesterday and made some comments and just came out and said, Kenny Pickett, entitled Kenny Pickett, that has, let's just be honest, had a really shitty attitude for the last, how long? About the last 2 months, ever since he got hurt, came back. Look, Mason Rudolph took this team to the playoffs, threw this team on his back, gave the offense a heartbeat that it hasn't seen since Big Ben was here. And in fact, a couple of years before Big Ben left, Mason Rudolph seems to have fully acclimated himself finally to the NFL. We forget this was going to be Big Ben's heir apparent, right? It looks like the Steelers may be set to screw him. There's no other way to look at this. All right, we're going to get to Tomlin in a second in his contract, but let's take a look at this. This is Trib Live, and wow. Mason Rudolph should charge the Steelers a trust tax if they try to sign him. Look, Kenny Pickett has already been named QB1 for next year. I mean, I understand you drafted him in the first round, but it's clear something is not right there. If it was me, I'm sorry, but after the attitude, the entitledness that I've seen, I would give Kenny Pickett a change of scenery. I would. I'd say, you know what? Whatever we can get, let's trade him. It didn't work out. All right? It didn't work out. During the course of the quarterback Mason Rudolph's unlikely 3-game win streak, to help push the 2023 Steelers into the playoffs, head coach Mike Tomlin often seemed guarded in his praise of the former third stringer. It was almost as if Tomlin didn't want to feed the hype surrounding his resurgence, or perhaps he wasn't quite believing what he was seeing. After all, Rudolph, once benched for a guy best known for his duck-calling capabilities, had just strung together 3 straight victories with a quarterback rating of 118. But during the season-ending press conference Thursday, Tomlin didn't hold back. Quote, I don't think that any of us can deny what we've seen over the last month or so, Tomlin said of Rudolph's clutch late-season results off the bench. I cannot underscore enough how impressive it is to be ready. Forget performance, to be ready to deliver. He was. And that preparedness showed. So certainly we're less speculative about his capabilities because there's evidence of it, and the evidence of it in tough circumstances. Look, you've already got one of your starred wide receivers, and this team's got talent on offense. Deontay Johnson's already come out and said, hey, I want Mason Rudolph as our quarterback, as my starting quarterback. I mean, with Kenny Pickett still on the team, mind you. I did that video yesterday. Mike Tomlin's got a chance of losing this locker room. If Kenny Pickett shows up next year and he craps the bed for the first 3 games or 4 games, you've got an issue. You got an issue with attitude with him as well. All right? There were multiple, look, it wasn't just the Mark Madden thing and him refusing to back up, which he denied, but even The Athletic came out and said there was something very strange going on around that week and him playing or being willing to play or whatever. So, and then, of course, there was attitude at 2 different press conferences that Kenny Pickett had that it would not have set right with me. That's not how your franchise quarterback should conduct business, all right? So automatically, I got to wonder, do you have the capabilities in the NFL to handle adversity? That's being real. Yeah, look, dude, you underperformed. You got Wally pipped. All right? Be a professional. Be cordial. maintain your composure, none of which you actually did. That's because just a few minutes earlier, Tomlin was asked if displaced starting quarterback Kenny Pickett would resume QB1 status now that the season is over. Quote, he will. Tomlin said, but obviously there will be competition. I hope. There's always competition in this thing. We don't anoint anybody. I'm appreciative of Pickett's efforts and where he is, and I'm excited about continuing to work with him. But certainly he will be challenged from a competition perspective moving forward. Competition brings the best out of all of us. Upon hearing that, I asked Tomlin if it is the franchise hope to retain Rudolph and allow him the opportunity to provide that competition. It is, Tomlin said, but he's a free agent and it's free agency. So we'll see where that leads us. If I was Rudolph, that road would lead me to Minnesota if Kirk Cousins leaves, Tampa Bay if Baker Mayfield moves on, or Atlanta or perhaps New England, depending on the circumstances, somewhere where I feel that the alleged quarterback competition would at least be legit. Wow, that's all you need to know. It looks like the quote-unquote quarterback competition may end up being a sham, all right? My issue, if I was Mason Rudolph, is when you're asked about the quarterback status and you hear that Kenny Pickett is still considered QB1, I'd have a problem with that. I mean, look, I wouldn't show my ass because that's Kenny Pickett's deal. But I would hear that and go, really? I would rather it be, no, we're going to have an open competition that's yet to be determined. All right? I don't know if Tomlin's just trying to stomp out the media issues that might cause, but let's be real. You've got your quarterback, potentially your new franchise quarterback that's fulfilling exactly why you drafted him, replace Big Ben. And you got to kind of sell him. There's going to be some teams look at Mason Rudolph. There's going to be some teams look at him. Days after walking out of a post-game news conference, this is ESPN, during a question about his future, Steelers coach said that his fire for the job has, quote, intensified, and then he expects to get a contract extension this offseason. Quote, I expect to be back. I would imagine that those contract things are going to run their course. Tomlin said at the end of the season news conference Thursday, Art Rooney II and I have a really good, transparent relationship. We communicate continually often. I don't imagine it's going to be an issue, and I imagine it's going to get done in a timely manner at the appropriate time, but my mindset is to coach his football team. Rooney later told the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette the team will, quote, plan to extend Mike's contract. Tomlin also explained his walk-off during the final question of the news conference after the Bills' loss and acknowledged he didn't handle it well. Quote, I certainly could have handled that situation better than I did, but I'll say also I just believe there's a time and a place for everything, and a post-game press conference are probably not the place to address contract issues and things of that nature. It's just not an individual thing. On a game day, I doubt any of us are in that mindset. I'm certainly not. Tomlin signed a 3-year contract extension in 2021, tying him to team through 2024. Outside speculation has swirled. I understand speculation is a component of what it is we do here, Tomlin said. I try not to get caught up in it or distracted by it, particularly when it is not where I'm at, and so that's been my mindset. I coach football. That's what I do. Okay, so I would expect he's going to be back. That's what it looks like. It's going to be a multi-year contract. I think he's a hell of a coach. I do. I've been really vocal about that. But if I'm Mason Rudolph and I'm sitting back today and I'm going, you just anointed the guy a QB1? After what I did, I saved this season. There's no question. There's no question about that. I saved this season, and I put up, and I went over it in my video yesterday, the different offensive check marks that he had hit that had not been hit since 2017 on offense at quarterback. You would think that would cause a coach to go, we haven't determined QB1. We're going to have an open competition. We hope to get Mason Rudolph back in this building, and he will compete with Kenny Pickett. I mean, what are you doing? You worried about Kenny Pickett's feelings? Because if you are, he's not the guy, and he's not going to make it in the NFL. He's just not. And this is coming from a guy, I banged the drum for them to draft Kenny Pickett. I thought, dude, Kenny Pickett's going to be a perfect Steelers quarterback for the next 15 years. I didn't know he was going to act like a big baby. I didn't. I thought his makeup was exactly the opposite of that. I was wrong. Tell me what you think, black and white sports supporters. If you're Mason Rudolph, are you like, WTF? Really? After what I just did? You lost to the Cardinals, a 2-win team at the time. You lost to the Patriots, a 2-win team at the time. And then you lost to the Colts in epic meltdown fashion. What do I got to do to at least be vocally in the competition? I understand he said, we're still going to compete. That's great, but you anointed Pickett the job. Yeah, he's QB1. Wait, come again? What? You're just going to hand it to him? Because we know once he gets it, it's going to be hard to take it back. Right? So, I don't know. I think it should just be, that's yet to be determined. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.